I call the meeting to order. This evening we will have our junior ROTC to present the colors. All rise.
Color guard. Left.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Forward. Push.
This meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law and has been duly advertised in the newspaper as an official meeting. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella,
Present.
Mr. McCann, Karen, sorry,
Present.
Mrs. Barocas,
Present.
Dr. Osman,
Here.
Mrs. Rivera,
Present.
Mrs. Cass,
Present.
and Mr. Palmieri.
Present. I need a motion for approval of the agenda with addendums.
Motion. Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella,
Yes.
Mr. McCarron,
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas,
Yes.
Dr. Osman,
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera,
Yes.
Mrs. Cass,
Yes.
and Mr. Palmieri.
Yes. At this time, I turn the meeting over to Mrs. Permilli for her superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Palmieri. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, as we always do, we will begin with our high school board rep reports. It is, however, their last board of education report about the things that are happening in our high school, which is a sad moment for us. We love having our students here sharing all of the wonderful happenings in the high schools. So I'm going to miss you all. And tonight we have Brooklyn, who is subbing for Jose, but she has been a past board rep as well last year, so we're happy to have her back. And she knows just how much we value all of these reports. And Keith, we are really going to miss you. I hope you keep in touch with us and let us know how things are going, and we wish you the very best in your future. I know I will see you before the end of the school year and be able to hand you your diploma as well, which will be exciting. But how about you come on up and give the report from Memorial.
Good evening, Mrs. Permilli, members of the Central Administration staff, and board members. I'm thrilled to be here once again to give you all an update on the exciting and busy month we've had at Jackson Memorial High School. As we find ourselves in mid-May at Jackson Memorial High School, we have already accomplished some remarkable events and milestones. Our junior formal, held on April 28th, was a resounding success. Our juniors showed up in their finest attire, and the event was filled with fun, laughter, and memorable moments. From what I've heard, it was truly a night to remember, and we extend our gratitude to everyone who contributed their time and effort to make it a memorable occasion. We recently held our Jackson Memorial Art Tech Expo, which took place on May 4th. This event showcased the exceptional creativity and skills of our students across various departments, including woodshop, art, engineering, CAD, and more. Students had the opportunity to exhibit their impressive artwork, woodwork, and tech projects, leaving us all in awe of their talent. We extend our appreciation to the dedicated teachers who worked tirelessly to make this event a success, as well as the students who poured countless hours into showcasing their skills. Moreover, our AP testing concluded this month, marking the end of a rigorous period for our students. We are now in the final stretch of the school year, eagerly awaiting the scores that will be released in June or July. We commend our students for their preparations and dedication throughout the school year, and we have every confidence that they will achieve outstanding results. Earlier this month, we had our Decision Day, where all of our seniors showcased the colleges they have committed to. We are very proud of all our seniors and the hard work they have put in over the years to achieve this goal. The Arts Honor Society is now painting prop prints on the walls for the senior class, which is a great way to honor their achievements and contributions to our school. On May 31st, we will be awarding local scholarships, and our seniors are excited to see what they are awarded. We know that this will be a great opportunity for many of our students, and we cannot wait to see what the future holds for them. In other news, elections have opened up for next year's class officers and student council members. This process allows our students to take an active role in shaping the future of our school or representing their peers. And we can also look forward to finding out who will be taking my place for this position to address the board next school year. In terms of sports, our sports teams are doing exceptionally well this season, with all of them standing with winning seasons and qualifying for both the short conference tournaments and NJSIAA state tournaments respectively. Our Jags have shown tremendous skill and determination representing Jackson Memorial High School with pride. We applaud their efforts and look forward to supporting them as they continue their seasons. In terms of upcoming events, I would like to remind everyone that tomorrow on May 18th, we will be hosting our spring band concert. Our talented musicians have been working tirelessly to prepare for this performance, and we invite everyone to join us for an evening filled with incredible music. Additionally, on May 24th, we have our spring choral concert, where our gifted singers seek to captivate the audience with their performances. We encourage you to attend and support our students as they showcase their vocal talents. Looking ahead, on May 22nd, we will be holding the STEM recognition ceremony, where we will acknowledge and celebrate the achievements of our students in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I'm incredibly proud of my fellow STEMmies' accomplishments, and I'm excited to see where they all end up as we take a step towards the future. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge Teacher Appreciation Week, which we celebrated from the 8th to the 12th. This week allowed us to express our gratitude to the incredible educators who go above and beyond every day to inspire and educate us. Our teachers play a vital role in shaping our lives and futures, and we are truly grateful for their dedication, passion, and unwavering support. Thank you for making a difference in our lives. I would also like to express our sincere appreciation to the board for being able to work through a very difficult budget. We understand the challenges and tough decisions that had to be made, and we commend you for managing the budget effectively while ensuring the quality of education and opportunities for all students. Your commitment to finding solutions and prioritizing our education is truly commendable. In closing, I would like to express my gratitude to all the board members, Mrs. Pormilli, and everyone present here today. As I stand before you for the last time, I'm filled with a profound sense of appreciation. I would like to thank all of you for an amazing past 4 years here at Jackson Memorial, and also express my gratitude for a tremendous last 12 years of my life here in the Jackson School District. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak here tonight, and I suppose my successor will address you all again in September. Have a great summer, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith. Mrs. Barber, always make sure that you have the opportunity to also take your nameplate with you when you move on, so to your next endeavor. So feel free to take that with you this evening. And again, we'll be in touch before graduation, but thank you for all of your wonderful reports and your commitment of time as well. You're a very busy student, we understand that, so thank you for your commitment to the school district and your high school. So Brooklyn, if you could give us a report for Liberty, go back into your old shoes of being the board rep and share all the wonderful things happening in Liberty. And Jose, if you're watching, same here. We have a nameplate for you, and we'll make sure we get that to you, and we missed you this evening.
Good evening, Superintendent Pormilli, Board of Ed members, and guests. Thank you for having me here. It's very nice to see you all again. For those who don't know me, I'm Brooklyn, I'm from Liberty, and I am honored to share with you a little bit about what the students and staff of Jackson Liberty have been up to since our last meeting. Our spring sports teams are keeping their successful streak as the girls' track team did an outstanding job at the Ocean County Track Championship on day 2 by placing 5th overall. Olivia DeVito, Brianna Casillas, Delaney Spathoff, and Alyssa Galeta placed second in the 4x1 and 4x4 events. Alyssa Galeta also finished fifth in the 200, and Tegan Marburg placed sixth in the discus. The boys track team 4x800 and 4x1600 were medaled at the Ocean County Relay Championship. Key runners were Grayson Wolf, Ryan Petro, Zach Marmelstein, Ethan Lamberto, and Lucas Cornine. The girls lacrosse got a win over Pinelands Regional 9-8, and the Liberty softball team defeated Brick Township 11-9. The Liberty boys volleyball advanced to 13-6 after winning against Holmdel on Monday. The Liberty baseball team also notched another win after defeating Lacey 3-0. Congratulations to Ethan Bloomfield, who threw a no-hitter and struck out 14 people. As a result of their success, they became B South Public champions. Besides team success, there have been a few individual athletes that we would like to recognize for their standout performances. To start off, boys lacrosse player Paul Capozzi broke the record for most goals scored in a single game by scoring 12 goals and tallying 5 assists. Congratulations to Trevor Van Valkenburg and Eli Elias of the Liberty Boys volleyball team on being selected all-division by the Shore Volleyball Coaches Association. The Lion Jazz Band ended its season with another win where they took home first place at the Lacey Band competition along with Best Soloist and Section Awards. Other clubs have also been busy trying to ensure a positive school climate. The National Honor Society is hosting its traditional trivia night on May 25th. It should be a fun night and we encourage you all to attend. Our annual Art Tech Expo will take place tomorrow beginning at 4 p.m. in our grand hallway. There is no cost for admittance. All are welcome to attend this expo that showcases students' work in AP art and many more projects created and designed by our technology classes. Be sure to stick around tomorrow because beginning at 6 p.m. in the auditorium, we will have our annual spring choral concert. Don't miss out on the evening filled with art and song. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Liberty will honor this week by having Spirit Days designed to the cause. The hope is that by standing united, the students will be reminded of the resources and support that surround them every day. Liberty Halls are also filled with joyful and unforgettable experiences from this year's Junior Formal that took place this past Friday, May 12th at the Jumping Brook Country Club. Dylan Tiapaco and Amel Osman won Junior Formal King and Queen. A good time was had by all. A huge shout out goes to Mrs. Dina Tilker for putting together another amazing evening to remember. Several other clubs are raising money for scholarships and events, and they wanted to thank you for your support. The class of 2025 is selling beach towels to help get ready for the summer. You can also purchase candygrams as a way to kiss a senior goodbye. The class of 2023 had a bake sale fundraiser to help families in need, and the athletic department is hosting a dodgeball tournament on Wednesday, May 24th to gather funds for the programs. We encourage all interested teams to register right away. Another big event taking place this month, the inaugural Jackson Liberty High School Athletic Hall of Fame banquet, which will take place on May 25th in Belmar. 6 individuals and 1 team will be inducted during the evening's events, and we are all so proud of the Liberty alumni. Finally, we want to express our gratitude and admiration for the hard work and dedication of our educators. Your efforts shape the future of our society, and we are grateful for your unwavering commitment to teaching and guiding students. A special thank you to the PTSN who donated treats for the teachers of JLHS. Your kindness is never overlooked. As you can see, Liberty is staying very active. The teams, clubs, students, and staff are all working to make these days the best they can be. We appreciate the opportunities that we have, and we thank you all for your support. Have a great summer, everyone.
Thank you so much, Brooklyn. As always, an excellent report, and it was lovely to see you tonight. Thank you for taking the time to be here. So moving on this evening, tonight we are also lucky to have Colonel Spare and Chief Sylvester and ROTC cadets here to provide a year in review of our ROTC program. So cadets, you may come forward.
Good evening. My name is Cadet Captain Nate Whippick, or Nathaniel Whippick, and I'll be speaking in review of what we did in the past year. Some of the things that we have done, just a quick overview is we've done leadership education and opportunities, community service, clubs, field trips, and of course, air shows. The ROTC program is a leader in leadership opportunities. We are cadet run. We have a chain of command, and there are positions for every cadet. If you look at the top, we have our group commander, who is James Carr, vice group commander, who is Aiden Snedeker, inspector general, who is Matthew McCall, executive officer, who is Hope McHugh, command chief, who is Gianna Roth, operations squadron commander, who is Gabby Reese, and mission support squadron commander, who I am the mission support squadron commander. Over the past year, we've had a total of over 1,600 hours through activities such as flag detail, campus cleanup, food pantry, Toys for Tots, Liberty Haven Farms, parades, Howe Township Cleanup Project, Color Guard, and Honor Guard events. I am now going to bring it over to Cadet Brooks, and he will tell you about our clubs and groups.
Okay. I am Cadet Brooks. So some of the clubs that we offer with our group include the Aerospace Club, which I'm the head of. So in that we have drones, models, and rocket building. We also have the drill team, which includes Color Guard, Honor Guard, competitions, and we go to parades. We also have the Raiders team, where we participate in physical fitness competitions, as well as the Air Rifle Marksmanship Club, which we're still working on getting going, but this will deal with safety education as well as marksmanship competitions. Another thing we offer is flag detail. Every day we have a flag raising and lowering outside the school, and we're looking to expand this to Liberty as well. This will also contribute to our service hours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Matthew Bindis. I am the recognition officer within ROTC. Let's see. So here are some of the field trips and activities that we have done throughout the year as ROTC. We've gone to Raider competition, just like with our Raiders team, where they competed in different physical fitness competitions, things like that, as well as doing academic bowls. So some of our cadets that are really high performing in the academic fields, they've gone out and have competed against other schools within New Jersey and even in the tri-state area. We also have had our youth seminar that we actually, I believe, took home first place in, where we had a group of cadets have to solve a modern day problem, and then they presented it to a panel, and we happened to come out first with that. We also have the Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst Air Show this coming weekend that we will be helping out doing community service for, and then we also have different color guard ceremonies, things like that. We go to different retirements, ceremonies for those that are on the base and even further throughout. We also have gone to the Eagle Stadium. We have done a color presentation at the beginning of one of the football games during the season. And then we also we're trying to get through possibly doing a military flight opportunity, going to the base and seeing if we can possibly take flight and get a little bit of a different perspective from those that are on the base and all that stuff. This year, our unit was also awarded the Distinguished Unit Award. We had an inspection earlier this year where we had someone from outside come in to look at how we run, things we do, and how the overall program is run, and they have awarded us with this grateful award. And it's very difficult for a lot of units to get, and it's very prestigious within JROTC, and we're very thankful to be awarded it. And next year we'll be continuing to do these different inspections to make sure that our unit is running to the highest standard that it can and performing in all areas. And with that, we thank you all for supporting our program now and in the future, and we can't wait to continue working with you and the board. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the year in review. Definitely been very busy, and we just absolutely enjoy having this program on our campuses. It is an incredible program for our students, and getting the Distinguished Unit Award is a phenomenal honor, and there's a ton of work that goes into that, and I recognize that. So your leadership is appreciated among your peers and in our high school program. So thank you for all that you've done, and congratulations on that award. So now moving on to our next presentation this evening, the New Jersey 21-22 school performance reports were recently released across the state of New Jersey. Mr. Ritante is here to share an overview of some of the data that's available on those reports, and then to share with you where you can find that extensive data. Mr. Ritante.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you to the Board of Education for the opportunity to present the 21-22 school performance reports that were, as Mrs. Permilli said, were just released in the last couple weeks. So the key thing about the school performance reports is they're usually a year lagged behind. The data that is incorporated in these not only make up the school year, but also there are some other data points that really are not finally tabulated till usually the end of the summer and even into September. So typically they're about a year behind when we get and have the opportunity to go through the data that's presented by the state. A lot of the data that's in here is data that we know. Obviously we submit it to the district. We do have it, but the format that the school performance reports puts it out in makes it much more user-friendly and for parents, for our community to see the data. Typically, the information in here, there's there's hundreds of different data points that are put in here, and really it allows our district an opportunity to learn more about our district, start conversations, engage in areas where we're excelling, and also have conversations about areas that we need to and wish to improve in. All of the information that's in these reports is on the website and translated into Spanish as well. This is the home page for the school performance reports. If you go to our district website, at the very bottom of our home page, there's a link that takes you right to this page here. And on this page here, you can click, obviously, by county and find any specific school, or type in a specific district or a school name. Everybody has access to all public schools in the state of New Jersey, and all of the data is comparable and the same for all districts throughout the state. As I mentioned, over hundreds of different data points that are in here. I'm going to just do a couple quick snapshots on here from some district perspective on some of the demographic information, academic achievement, college and career readiness, and some of our graduation and post-secondary information. Just to go over just a couple highlights to present to you, and I would invite and welcome anybody to dive deeper into it if they wanted more information on a specific school. So the first piece to jump into is just our student enrollment and demographics. You can see here there's a 3-year trend on this particular information. Most of the data that is in this report is broken out over 3-year trends. So you don't just see a snapshot of the 21-22 school year. You can kind of see some historical data going back typically 3 years for all of our data points. Now, a couple key things to point out on this slide and this information. As you can see, our total student enrollment. We did have a drop going into the very challenging 2021 school year, as not only Jackson, but most public schools, most schools, period, around the state and the country had enrollment drops. And then you can see going into 21-22, the drop was only about 50 students. As of this morning, we had 7,671. So we currently, right now in our district, have more students than we had 2 years ago during the 2021 school district. So our enrollment is definitely more showing an uptick on the rise than a decline at this point. Just another point that makes it extremely challenging with the budget cuts that, we're operating a school district budget for next year with more students with significantly millions of less thanks to some state cuts, which definitely, as we've talked about in previous meetings, presents a lot of our challenges. I'm sorry, go back one slide, Allison. You can also see on that slide the economically disadvantaged. Again, in 2021, you see a very significant drop in there. Keep in mind, during that school year, the federal government had a program where all students were receiving free lunch. So many parents, many students did not fill out the free and reduced forms because they were receiving free lunch, and there really was no reason to do that. I will do a little PSA right now that we encourage all of our families to at least take a look at the free and reduced lunch. A lot of the numbers, the baseline standards have changed. We also have a link on our website for that. It's not just about free lunch. There's also a lot of other opportunities that are available to families that do qualify, including some reductions in programs and some free things that are available throughout the district if they do qualify. So I would encourage all of our families to at least take a look at the free and reduced lunch application. And then you can see that number does increase back to 21, 22, more of where our district has typically been. You do see a very slight drop in our students with disabilities over the last couple of years, and you do see the increase in our English language learners as well. The enrollment trends are broken out by grade level, and to me this slide really does give a much better depiction of what our enrollment is as a school district. You can see obviously preschool has increased dramatically from 1920 school year to 21-22 due to the preschool program. But what I like to look at on a slide like this is to look at a trend line. So for example, if you look at 4th grade in 1920, and you can see there was 551 students, that same group became 5th graders the following year with 549 students, and that same group became the 6th graders the following year with 554, really showing flat enrollment increases as you make that vertical jump from one year to the next. And if you do that for pretty much all grade levels, you'll see there's a couple grade levels that dip, a couple that do increase, but generally our grade levels are staying pretty flat year to year to year. So the statewide assessment results, they base this information off of the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment. That is actually the test that our students are taking right now, grades 3 through 9 in English, math, and science. This slide is very challenging to depict a lot of information from because this test was not given since 2019. We did not give it during the last 2 years, and then during the 21-22 school year, the test was given with really a lot of ambiguity on our part as far as what the test was going to entail. You can see the statewide proficiency numbers are very low. Obviously, our district mirrors pretty much what those statewide numbers are. Not something that we're proud of. We're happy about those numbers. It definitely presents us an area, as I mentioned, of somewhere that we need to work on and the challenge that's presented to our district. But it also really does reflect the this disruption in our educational system for 3 years and the consequences that came from those disruptions. So we're optimistic that the scores a year from now when we present will be higher. We've been working very hard. Our staff has done a great job with our students during this past school year, which has really been much more of a normal academic school year, and a lot of progress has been made and shown by our students. Some of the data points that we do like to look at is not the statewide assessment, but the assessments that we use throughout the school year and really give us a better picture on how our students are doing. This particular slide represents our scholastic math inventory, and it shows how many of our students are on grade level. We give this assessment in the fall, in the winter, and the spring, and you can show, based on grades 4 through 8, the increase in the amount of students that move up the ladder and get to their grade level as the school year progresses. And this is more of a reflection of the academic work and the excellent teaching happening in our classrooms. The next slide is the same data information, but shown on our reading inventory. So this gives us our reading levels, our reading ability of our students, and also on all grade levels, you do see the uptick in the amount of students that are getting to grade level over the course of the school year. This information represents our AP courses. A lot of our high school juniors and seniors, and in some cases a few sophomores, will take the advanced placement courses. And this shows you between math and sciences as well as our humanities, the amount of students that take the test and score a 3 or higher. The test is scored on either a 1 through a 5. And typically a lot of colleges, a lot of universities, if students will score a 3, 4, or 5, we'll give them college credit. So when they walk in the door in college, they may be exempt from taking a specific course. They may be exempt from taking something that will allow them to either possibly graduate early or take other courses while they're in college. And it does come at a little bit of a discount when you're paying tuition if your child can get some credits and things walking in the door into college based on how they did in their high school courses. This is a snapshot summary of both our high schools combined. If you go to the school performance report, you can see the breakdown of individual schools on that. One of the key factors in the performance report is the graduation rates. The state does this in two different ways. So the first way they calculate is your 4-year graduation rate. So that is your students who begin as freshmen, they do 4 years of high school, and then they graduate at the end of 4 years. And you can see the numbers on the left-hand side ranging from 92.9 to 94.3 to the class of 22 with a 95%. What's not represented in this data is we have several special ed programs where students stay in our school system. They stay in our programs with specific programs designed to their needs, and they can stay in as late as 21 years old. They're not included in those numbers, or they show as students that didn't graduate, but we want them to stay. We have wonderful programs for them. So that's where that 5-year rate comes in, and you can see the numbers increase significantly on the 5-year rate, and some of those students even stay longer than the 5 years for programs that they're part of. So you can kind of see where Jackson falls in our graduation rates compared to the state of New Jersey. All of our seniors have to complete an assessment in order to graduate. So in addition to their course requirements that they need to take to graduate, all seniors also need to pass an assessment. So the statewide assessment is some of the state tests that the students need to take. So this slide shows you what % of our students graduated based on what assessment they did to graduate. So you can see the statewide assessment. The substitute competency assessment is if they did not pass the state assessment, there are other things like an SAT, a PSAT, an ASVAB test. If they pass one of those tests, that counts in addition to passing the statewide assessment. Students who aren't able to pass one of those can do a portfolio in literacy or math, and then students who have IEPs might have an alternate requirement specified for graduation. So this shows you in the areas of literacy and math what % of our students use which assessment in order to meet the graduation requirements. As far as college and career readiness, this just shows a lot of the information as far as how many of our students took SATs while they were in high school, how many students were in NAP courses, what percentage, how many students were in dual enrollment, CTE, which are career and technical educational programs. That could be VOTEC, that could be programs within the school. And then also how many of our students received the seal of biliteracy, meaning that they were showing proficiency in more than one language, which was 18 students. The dual enrollment is the one area on here that we're really working as a district to improve. We want to have more students have opportunities for the dual enrollment courses, either whether it's with Ocean County College or another partner college, which again allows them to get credits for college towards associate degrees before walking out of the door in high school. So that's a number that we're actively working to improve on in years to come. And the last slide here just shows our post-secondary enrollment. So this shows the percentage of students who are enrolled in some sort of a college program 16 months after graduation. So you can see our total population, 74% of our students are enrolled in some sort of secondary program. What's not included in here is students that go in, obviously, the workforce, military, vocational trades as well. We have a lot of our students that go into those different career paths. The one thing I do want to say about our graduating seniors and students that go on is we do provide some SAT courses for them. We do have a lot of programs to help them get to that college level, get to those college experiences. And last year's class of 22 received over $28 million in scholarships, of which $133,000 came from our local Jackson community and our scholarship night. May 31st, coming up in a couple weeks, is our next scholarship night for our class of 2023, and we're very excited about that night and the generosity of our school community for our graduating seniors. And on the last slide is the state does put out a survey every year. They do encourage, whether it's faculty, staff, or community members, to complete the survey after you've looked through the data. Sometimes they do make changes based on feedback. If there's certain data points people would like to see that aren't included, those might be indicated in the survey, and this Department of Ed does take some of that information into account each year when they roll out the new surveys. There are some other addresses on there, email addresses and websites. If anybody has further questions, My email's up there as well. This will get posted on our website in the next couple days. If anybody has questions, I'd be happy to answer them from the community regarding any information in the school performance reports. Any questions from the board regarding the data? It's a lot of data to process, I know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vitante, for the excellent summary. Again, there's a lot more data that can be found on those reports online. So last Monday, I presented the 23-24 budget and detailed the impact of losing $18 million over 6 years and the impact it would have on our district. Among other things, this included dissolving 64 positions. And while many of these reductions have been accomplished through attrition, many people are losing their jobs or being transferred as a result of our reductions as no fault of their own. Tonight, on our agenda, you will see some of the biggest consequences of our budget crisis. This past week, we have been forced to have very difficult conversations with very good people. People who have worked hard to do excellent work educating and supporting our students and district. Not only are we losing good people, but others remaining are also affected through transfers and change to their workload. The work done by 64 people does not just go away. As a result, so many of our staff will be asked again to do more. I need to acknowledge the good work of so many and recognize these reductions and how painful they are and how greatly they affect people's lives. I felt it was important to say this tonight. As to some, it may seem like we are business as usual, but we are far from business as usual. We will continue to serve our students well. However, it would be a disservice to the excellent employees we are losing or redistributing tonight to not recognize that these deep cuts will have a great effect on our schools and how we operate. I thank each of these staff members and all of our staff who remain for their dedication to our students. It is a difficult time for the Jackson School District. The testament to our staff's dedication can be seen in the meaningful learning and other experiences of our students. For them, this time of the year is filled with fun-filled and milestone events and continued learning. On the screen, as you entered this evening or were watching from home, you could see some of those wonderful events that are happening in our schools. You heard from our high school board reps that there's just a tremendous amount of wonderful things happening along with learning these last few months of school. So before I conclude my superintendent's report tonight, I'd also like to share with you the wonderful highlights of our middle school plays, just another example of the wonderful things we do in our district and the staff that we have that are committed to students to do these programs. So I encourage the board to turn around and take a look at these wonderful clips.
The jitterbug. The jitterbug. Oh, the bees and the breeze and the bats and the trees have a terrible, horrible buzz. But the bees and the breeze and the bats and the trees couldn't do what the jitterbug does. So just be careful of the rascal. Keep away from the jitterbug. That's right. Dance, dance, dance. You dance away those poopy slippers. The story we need is a right that's been kept out of sight but no more. In a few hours by dawn's early light we'll be ready to fight us a war. This time we're in it to stay. Talk about seizing the day.
Write it in ink or in blood, it's the same either way. Squeeze them until they pay.
In the words of Union Leader Jack Kelly, we will work with you, we will even work for you, but we will be paid and treated as valuable members of your organizations.
Here we go.
Good luck, Jack.
You too, Catherine.
This is for kids shining shoes on the street with no shoes on their feet every day. This is for kids sweating blood in the shops while their bosses and cops look away. Look at us all standing tall, glaring and wearing a bra.
That hiding that tree.
And those were middle school students. Amazing, right? Let's give them a round of applause. So with that, that concludes my superintendent's report, Mr. Palmieri.
Thank you, Ms. Vermilly. At this time, we are going to have our standing committees report. Our first standing committee is Buildings and Grounds, and the chairperson is Ms. Rivera.
Yeah, our next meeting is May 31st.
Thank you, Ms. Rivera. Budget and Finance, I am the chairperson. The 2023-2024 budget was adopted on May 8th with a state loan request for $10.25 million. The board also approved a special question to be added to the November election asking voters to approve an additional $4.035 million for the 2023-2024 budget for new positions. Those positions would be 6 guidance counselors, 2 student assistance counselors, 1 non-public student coordinator, 1 non-public secretary, 8 interventionist teachers, 10 elementary teachers, 12 secondary teachers, 4 child study team members, 4 ESL teachers, and the employee benefits related to these new positions. This would help us make us more whole after these 6 years of cuts that we've had to eliminate quite a few positions. Next would be Transportation, and the chairperson is Ms. Barakis.
Hi, everyone. The Transportation Committee met on May 10th, and in attendance was myself, Mrs. Cass, Mr. Palmieri, Mrs. Permilli, Ms. Richardson, Mr. Baginski, Mr. Rotanti, and Mr. Soto. Mr. Soto presented the committee with the following. Cul-de-sac bus stops. Mr. Soto answered questions from previous committee meetings. He discussed the safety and difficulty of driving down cul-de-sacs for all grades. We looked at each proposed stop, and we discussed the rollout of enforcing the procedure of not going down cul-de-sacs and the exception for cul-de-sacs longer than a half a mile. We also updated on the non-public busing update. The bids for non-public transportation were received on May 2nd. Only 11 routes were picked up by Jay's Busing and Presidential. The remaining routes that were not picked up have already been sent to the Monmouth Ocean Educational Services to see if they can have better luck finding vendors to pick up the routes. Non-public parents will be informed of the outcome. I think a letter just went out recently, and you should expect to hear on June 16th. And if MOESC is not successful in providing transportation, all eligible parents will receive aid in lieu. In our next meeting, will be addressed.
Thank you. And now we have some ad hoc committees that meet as needed. Over the last month, we had a policy subcommittee meet, and the chairperson is Ms. Cass.
Yes, the committee submits the following, we met on May 5th, and in attendance was myself, Mr. Baginski, Mrs. Gardella, and that was it. So the committee submits the following recommendations for board approval, which is on the agenda tonight. Policy number 5111, eligibility of resident versus non-resident pupils in the district, and a 20% increase for renting school facilities via Regulation 7510. The following policy alerts were discussed for a first reading, and they have to go for a second reading. So that'll be the mandated revisions regarding instructional supplies, health services personnel, student health records, health services, reimbursement of federal and other grant expenditures, federal awards, funds, internet controls, allowability of costs, federal funds, duplication of benefits, and school district security. Non-mandated, new and revised were also discussed at a first reading. Board member orientation and training, use of corporal punishment, new and revised, and one that had a first reading for abolishing was public relations. We also discussed, it's an ongoing discussion, tuition-based students was discussed again, so we've been discussing that a few times. We don't have another date set. as of yet.
Thank you, Mrs. Cass. And also, you are the chair for scholarship. You have anything to report?
The scholarship night will be May 31st. So.
Thank you. State and County School Board Representative, Chairperson, Ms. Rivera.
There will be a planning meeting for next school year in the summer, date to be determined.
Thank you. JEA negotiations, I am the chairperson. Negotiations are still ongoing, so I don't have anything further to report. I will tell you that the next meeting is June 5th. And Teamsters negotiations, the chairperson is Dr. Osmond.
Yep. So we're still in negotiations. Our next meeting is June 6th, right, Dan? June 6th.
Thank you. I need a motion for approval of policy and regulations, first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
And Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion for approval of the minutes, the closed session meeting, April 26, 2023, and the official board meeting, April 26, 2023, business meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
And Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion for approval of the bill list.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
And Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion for approval of treasurers and board secretaries' reports.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
And Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion to open public forum on agenda items only. We will hold another public forum during this meeting for other questions. This public forum will be for questions on agenda items only.
Motion.
Second.
Please sign in and state your name and whether or not you are a Jackson resident. Each person is allowed a maximum of 5 minutes to speak. No person may speak more than once on the topic until all others have been heard.
Good evening. My name is John Granado. I am a Jackson resident. I'm here on behalf of parents of the St. Aloysius, actually St. Aloysius and St. Rose and Belmar's school. Some of the parents couldn't be here tonight, but since the closing of St. Aloysius Catholic School in 2018 and 2019, most of us have sent most of our children to St. Rose and Belmar. Within those past 2 years, within 2019 to 2023 now, we paid for our own transportation for our kids to get to the school there. We were told because we didn't have a total of 15 or more on the bus, we were not getting a bus. We weren't being considered by the township for a bid. I therefore hit the township with an OPRA request for those schools getting busing outside of Jackson and found that many buses did not have 15 or more students. We would like to know how non-public schools, especially Christian schools, are not being strongly considered for the bid process by the township.
Is that the only question?
It's the only question.
At the end of the forum, we will respond to the questions with answers for you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening. I'm here to speak in regards to the elimination of the high school gymnastics team along with the hockey team. To say I'm disappointed, upset, and crushed is an understatement. While volunteering an immeasurable number of hours to the Jackson school community through the Elms PTN, and currently being the vice president of the Getz PTN, I'm upset that our students and children are suffering. My daughter is a freshman right now on the gymnastics team. My other daughter's in 7th grade and was also looking forward to being part of this wonderful gymnastics team. Most, if not all, of these girls excuse me, have been doing this sport they love since they were 3 to 5 years old, and most were proud to represent their high school. Now that dream's been taken away. Besides taking away the experience and healthy impacts of being on a varsity sport in high school, for these extremely dedicated athletes, it also impacts their college application. Now they can't list a varsity sport. I know hard decisions have to be made because of financial situations. However, I'm requesting the opportunity for discussions to see if there's any possibility to save this sport, and would be happy to coordinate this with the other gymnastic parents. I also would like to request to know the cost so that we can kind of come up with some sort of financial implication. I'll skip over some of it because I don't want to go too long, but some ideas, I don't know if it's been floated around, increasing student athletic fees. I know other schools charge a lot more. Maybe even we could charge, I'd be willing an admittance fee for the competitions at the gymnastics. I just would like to ensure all options are carefully considered before sport, which has so many benefits to our kids in today's crazy world, is taken away from them. Thank you for listening.
Is there anyone else that would like to come up and speak on agenda items? All right. Seeing no one come forward, I need a motion to close public forum.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. So we're going to just kind of give some answers to the two questions. The first one with the gentleman that had the question with busing and private school busing and the question of the students. I would like to turn it over to Ms. Richardson. Could you provide some information in regards to how that would work for the gentleman?
He mentioned that there was an Oprah request for the routing of what we had. I'm not sure what he's talking about. However, I know our premise is that we always maximize the number of students on the bus. We have to bid all of them out. Some of them will come back as a pricing that is not cost effective because we can only pay 1,022 times the number of students on there. It doesn't mean that we awarded the route. We actually rejected quite a few because they didn't meet the pricing. So if you have less than 15 kids on a bus, you multiply that one by 1,022. A bus company is not going to run that bus. They won't do that. That's why we've gone to great lengths with the parents in the group that you're talking about by doing cluster stops to keep the costs down in order for a company to take those buses. So if you saw the bid, and if that's what you're talking about, it may have had only 15 kids on there, but it would not have been picked up.
If you want more clarity, sir, I would recommend maybe calling the office. We will speak to you one-on-one for any clarity you may want. And if there's anything, of course, that we could do further, we would be open to, to hear it. We want everyone to get safe busing. That's the goal. Thank you. For the other question in regards to hockey and gymnastics, I have to be honest. We are exploring all options to salvage this. We have had some massive, as you know, you heard, massive financial cuts. The state has hit us with S2 with $18 million, and unfortunately with cuts, things have to be cut in terms of gymnastics or hockey, or even, as you've seen, positions being eliminated. But we are looking, this is very fluid right now, so we are looking at other options. We may have some promising ones. We need a couple of weeks before we can maybe go public with anything. However, if nothing comes to fruition, I did see that you wanted to maybe have a meeting and go over what it would cost financially for parents to pay as you go to fund something like this. So that is something we could look into as well. I would say give us just a couple of weeks to see what comes about some of the other options we have going right now. I need a motion to move finance.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond? Yes. Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
And Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion to move facilities.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion to move programs.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
And Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion to move students.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Oh. So I'll turn it over to our board attorney, Mr. Zimmer.
One additional resolution for students. Resolved that the board affirms the finding of the HIB specialist that the complainant of conduct in case number 244124E030-2023 discussed during this evening's closed session did not constitute an active HIB, and be it further resolved that the family shall be provided with a written decision along with their right of appeal.
I need a motion to move students.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
And Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion to move personnel.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
I have a question. Regarding, obviously we have some abolishment of positions. What are, and transfers happening as far as ensuring continuity of curriculum throughout the district? What are our steps to make sure that that occurs?
We'll be having a lot of meeting opportunities to discuss work that has been on folks' plates and how we're transitioning it to other folks. There will be more work, I will say, taken on by central administration. And we worked hard to ensure our schools, with the increased needs that we've seen, are not affected. So there will be lots of people taking on more work, for sure. But there will be lots of articulation meetings and transfers of responsibilities.
Thank you.
And maybe I could add, if you don't mind, Ms. Permilli, the special question would assist as well. If we get that approved and passed, that's a lot of teachers we'd be bringing back that could help with that, I think, as well. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Gardella?
So, Michelle, do I say yes, and then I have to abstain to a couple things?
Abstain on anything doing JEA, right?
Oh, well, it's more than that. So I have to abstain, yes to everything except I'm abstaining to 11C1. I'll give you the names because they're not numbered.
If you just do the number, it's...
There's no number.
There's no number on the side of it.
Here, these are my Post-its. 13V, 19O, and 26A.2.
Okay. All right. Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mrs. Barocas?
Yes.
Dr. Osmond?
Yes.
Mrs. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Cass?
Yes.
And Mr. Palmieri?
Yes. I need a motion to open public forum on any topic pertaining to the Board of Education.
Motion.
Second.
Please sign in and state your name and whether or not you are a Jackson resident. Each person is allowed a maximum of 5 minutes to speak. No person may speak more than once on the topic until all others have been heard. This is any topic related to the Board of Education.
My name is Nechama Goldstein. I'm a Jackson resident. I just wanted to ask you about, I got the email about the non-public transportation, that only 11 routes were picked up from outside vendors. Is Jackson Township going to pick up any busing itself? I wanted, my daughter has busing this year, and she has a Jackson bus, so I was just wondering, if that was included in the bid that you just did, or is that a bid coming up, or I didn't really know how it works, or should we just assume, I guess not assume that there's not going to be too much transportation next year. I also just wanted to thank Mr. Soto for getting back to me last meeting. I was having trouble getting through to the transportation department, and he contacted me after the meeting, and he gave me the new email address, and he has been very responsive every time I have a question. So that's just what I wanted to know.
Any additional questions? Seeing no one come forward, I need a motion to close public forum.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So Ms. Olson, so we did, initially, we bid out 54 routes, and that goes out to anyone that would like to bid on those routes, and 11 of those won bid. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put this, these bids, we're going to bid this to our consortium, which is MOESC, and they're going to create routes and bid those routes out to pick up additional, hopefully additional routes for additional private school students to get busing. So we have to wait for that. Then, when that's complete, if that, whatever those routes are with the first wave of routes is the final number, Jackson and the Jackson School District will not be busing private school students with a Jackson bus, but it will go through a second wave of bidding through our consortium to see if we can get additional routes picked up. All right, at this time, we are going to have some board comments, and I'm going to start with my right side, Mrs. Gardella.
Good evening. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out. You know, we all know that last meeting, which was only not even a week ago, you know, we had to make some big decisions here in the district, and I think that you are on the same page with us. We're doing our best, and really our admin is behind us trying to make sure that we can keep or come back with things that we did have to cut in order to come clean with the budget. So, we're behind all of our students, and we're constantly advocating, and we're probably on the same wavelength as everybody else in the district. So, we want everybody to have their proper transportation. We want all students to be able to participate in programs. So thank you for coming out and participating tonight.
Thank you all for coming out today. As Megan said, the situation that we're in financially is really awful, and we are truly trying to make the best decisions out of an awful situation. So, again, I appreciate all the work that the admin team are doing. They're putting in countless hours trying to make this school district continue to function, right? So really, kudos to you guys, because this is a very, very tough situation. I also wanted to congratulate our seniors, since this is probably the last time we'll see you at this forum. I think it's wonderful that you took on a job like this. This takes time and preparation, and I really hope, I'm a college professor, and I love when students get involved, but I really, really hope that you continue to stay informed, to get involved at your respective schools that I'm assuming you're going to college, right? And stay informed in your community. And Keith, I'm a communications professor. Your public speaking skills are really good. Use that in life, right? Let your voice be heard and advocate and try to make this world a little bit better.
Mr. McCarron.
Just wanted to thank our student board members as well. It's great having your reports every month. Also wanted to thank the Jackson Views Literary Art Magazine staff for providing us a copy of The World Around Us magazine. I look forward to going through that magazine. And good luck to all our spring athletes in their upcoming tournaments and state tournaments. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I just want to wish Keith and Brooklyn good luck and the best in your future. It's been wonderful listening to you guys this last year, and again, wishing you all the best of luck. I also want to thank our Air Force Junior ROTC for joining us this evening. My son joined his freshman year, and is probably one of the best decisions he made. Our Air Force program promotes citizenship, community, service, leadership, character, and many other qualities that will help in your future endeavors. So if we have any 8th graders out there in Getza McCullough that is interested in joining our Air Force Junior ROTC program, or you just have questions about the program, I highly recommend going on our website and reaching out to learn more. It really is a wonderful program. And I just want to echo the sentiments of some of my other board members, is we really are working hard to keep as many programs as we can. It's not something that we like to do, so hopefully we'll be able to, help everyone, get to a better situation that will make everyone happy. So thank you all for coming out.
I want to thank you all for joining us on live stream and in person. We value all of your comments and input. Thank you, Ms. Permilli and staff, for working diligently throughout this budget process, and everyone have a safe evening.
I want to say congratulations to our 2 seniors over there as well. Thank you for all of your reports, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Guys and gals, wish you the best of luck. Congratulations to our ROTC and their Distinguished Unit Award. And I echo Allie's sentiments. My son, who graduated last year, was in ROTC too, one of the best programs. And I want to thank the Jackson Views Literary for this, and the art magazine, so that's great. I do look forward to reading that later. I did have the opportunity to see the Newsies play, so the highlights were really great. And again, I echo everyone at the table. We all feel the same. Our kids go here as well, so we feel your pain, and we're doing our best. And kudos to our team and Mrs. Permilli, because they're really doing the best they can under the most dire circumstances. So, and again, thank you all for coming, and keep your comments coming. We're always open to everyone. Thank you.
I'd like to just start off briefly and mention my son, Christopher, achieved Student of the Month, and his ceremony is tonight, and I was unable to attend because I was conducting board business, but I would like to just say congratulations, and I'm very proud of you. I would also like to say thank you to everyone for coming out tonight and those watching at home. As always, it's a pleasure to hear about the happenings in our school from our student leaders. Good luck. Last week, the 2023-2024 school budget was finalized at a public board meeting. Even though it was not what we all wanted, I will say with confidence that our students will continue to receive a great education here in Jackson. Don't let all the noise drown that out. Your children will continue to receive a great education, one of the best in Ocean County. Be proud of your school district. Jackson is still a great place to live and raise your family. Thank you. Get home safe. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
By acclamation. Aye.
Thank you.